Okay.
Okay, let me start. I am Arpi Garabedjan, and I want to welcome everyone in our webinar. As you know, Cascade People and Business and Armenian HR Association launched a series of webinars to keep us professionally tuned. And this is kind of a social responsibility program for us, because we are nailed to our main mission is to bring change. And as far as we can't do it offline, we are doing it online. So hello, hello. We are very happy to see all these faces that we can see because some videos are switched off. And today I want to introduce our guest, like professor of American University of Armenia, consultant, trainer, and just very good person, and my best friend, Sergey Tantushyan. Hello, Sergey.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Hello. Thank you for this great opportunity, and we're looking forward to hear you and see what are the tendencies in the field that you are mastering. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for introduction and joining everyone. We have 22 participants. We're expecting more, I think, but we will start. So let me start with sharing my screen. And our topic today is breakaway strategies. Now, let me first talk about the actuality of the topic, and then we're going to go into the content, and then there would be a Q&A and an interactive session. I hope it will be helpful. And the actuality is obvious. You know, after this crisis, we can take it as an opportunity or as a, you know, problem, as a threat, right? Now, everybody is more towards the threat mode. They are expecting economic downturn. Everybody's talking about that. The government is preparing some stimulus packages and so on. And that's right. That's okay. But I think that, you know, if we are proactive in our own businesses, we can see some kind of an opportunity to really take us out of the comfort zone and rethink the business or retune the business into a new way. And how do we do it? By breaking away strategies. Okay, the strategies to break away from your ordinary industry and apply the rules that are from different industries. Let me show you how. And you know, this is pretty much a new thing to do. The breakaway strategy is a new concept, but it's based on a very, very old concept of the 4 Ps of marketing, right? Product, price, place, and promotion. Now, let me tell you that product, price, place, and promotion are no longer actual, because product became a solution, price became a value, place became access, and promotion became education. So basically, it's save now, okay? Not 4 Ps, but save. Solution, because, you know, we want to find solution to the problem. You know, it can be a product, it can be a service, it can be an application, whatever. The most important thing is not to deliver, not to produce a product anymore, but to give a solution to it. What RP is asking, what is the difference? Yeah, and I'm telling you what the difference is. Now, the price, I mean, we're not talking about expensive price or cheap price now. We are talking about the value to the customer, okay? We're talking about the fair price, the value. As of the access, you know, place, you know, it can be anywhere. Now, this place of my seminar is my parents' bedroom, actually, because that's the most less noisy place. But, you know, because you have access through Zoom, through Facebook, through YouTube channel, and so on, I mean, we are making this possible. So access is important, and promoting or just pushing or advertising your product is no longer a good strategy. And now it is more valuable to educate your customers. Now, based on these 4 Ps, let me present you, you know, how you can break away from your industries, okay? And the first one is the P, product P, and that's through product design. Now, an example of it, firms use products and packaging to communicate desired category membership. Now, Red Bull, when they're entering the market, they decided to break away from the beverage industry, which is, you know, Coca-Colas and, you know, all Pepsis and all the other beverages. There is a huge, extremely, you know, powerful competition out there. And they decided to break away from that category, not to compete with them, right? And they broke away through the product design. They made their package, their can, sleeker, slimmer, so that it's not perceived with its design, because of its design, it's not, it shouldn't be perceived as a beverage, as your regular beverage. So that's not your typical drink that's Red Bull. That's how they broke away. The second P that you are playing on to break away from your category, from your product category, is the channel of distribution, or the place. Good examples of it is the Tom's shoe. Have you guys heard about the Tom's shoe? You know, these are the shoes. Now, if you look at this shoe design, I mean, it's not a very good shoe as a shoe itself, right? I mean, there's tons of competition. There are Italian shoes, there are Geox that are comfortable, there are Echos, and, you know, that compete with them. There are sports shoes, specialized, you know, loafers, and so on. So if they had to go and compete with other shoes, but in the same place where those shoes are, which are the shoe stores, right? Or the shoe sections of the department stores, they would have lost the competition. However, they broke away from their industry, from the shoe industry, and placed their product in the grocery stores, in the Whole Foods markets, in the healthy, you know, drugstores, in the healthy food sections, where the customer for this shoe is, okay? And, you know, they are not perceived anymore. Question? By the way, you know, you can stop me and ask questions, or just type the questions in the chat, okay? So they broke away and from the shoes, because they don't want to play with the rules of the game that are present in the shoes industry. And they are going to the places where people would, you know, because Tom's Shoes is donating one shoe for any shoe that is bought, right? That's their strategy. They're going to the places where this donating mentality people are. Whole Foods, healthy food sections, and so on. Same with Kudos. Kudos is a granola bar that, you know, could have been named and placed in the sweets department, but they strategically placed it in the healthy food section, okay? And now it is perceived as healthy food. Now it is priced as healthy food, much higher than the chocolate bar, right? And it's bought by a different target customer and for different purposes, for being healthy, not for you know, satisfying your you know, thirst for the sweet something, but for being healthy, for using less calories, okay? However, like it's really a chocolate bar with a little bit less calories. So as I said, the second way to break away from your industry is the place, to change the place so that it's perceived differently. Another P that you want to be working with to break away from your industry is your promotion or marketing communications P. Now, this example is called Gatorade. That's a you know, energy drink. However, they're not calling themselves energy drink anywhere on their packaging, neither on this cardboard packaging, nor on the bottles, not anywhere. You will never see a drink or an energy drink name or phrase, right? And they are referring to themselves as liquid fuel, okay? So basically, yes, you can see that the packaging is a little bit different too, but, you know, this example is brought for, you know, the marketing communications thing. How do I call myself? Okay, so the third P that you want to be working with to break away from your product category is the promotion P. And finally, the fourth P is pricing that you want to be working with to break away from your product category. This is an example of TiVo. TiVo is pretty much the same, the predecessor of Ucom. Basically, they are the ones who offer the films that you could rent and the catch-up function. Okay, now they entered the market and failed miserably by entering the market in the electronic stores, right? And the most important thing, by pricing themselves as a DVD player. At that time of their entry, DVD players were, for example, $300. They would place it as at $300. They failed miserably because it wasn't clear what their product is. It was an innovation. Nobody knew what this product does. Nobody could really understand it well enough to sell it. But the biggest problem of their failure was the wrong pricing. They priced it as a device. Immediately, they understood it and started pricing it as a subscription. Okay. And so basically this $300, they divided into 12 months, right? And they're like, oh, we're giving you the device for free, but now you are paying for the service of subscription, for catching up, for watching the films, and so on and so on, just exactly like Ucom is doing. Ucom and Rostelecom, basically with their devices, they are selling us their devices, right? But because they price it as a service and charge us on a monthly basis, the pricing makes them break away from the category of electronic devices, and thus they are not selling this device to us, and they are not playing with the rules of the games of the electronics market, but of a subscription service. So these were the 4 P's, or the 4 things that you can do to break away from your category. Okay, you can work with the product design, you can place your product where it would be perceived as belonging to a different category, you can price it differently, and you can promote it differently to break away from those categories. A perfect example of this breakaway strategy is Swatch. Okay, so they are a watch, right? But they broke away from the watch industry, and they started playing according to the rules of the games of the accessories or fashion industry. Okay, now let's think of Switzerland and the tradition of watchmaking. It is perceived as expensive, very high quality piece of jewelry that you would give to your son or to your daughter after you die, right? Now, it should be priced accordingly, very high priced, and basically you buy it once in a lifetime. Okay, now Swatch, when entering the market, they had to decide either they accept the rules of the game of that industry, expensive watches, very precise, Swiss made, you sell it once, and the entire industry is making money on fixing the watches, okay, on repairing those watches. That's what the industry was all about, right? And that could have been perfectly acceptable, as Nespresso did, for example, right? Now, their business model is selling the machine for very cheap and then selling you very expensive cartridges. Or, Sony PlayStation is doing the same. The Sony PlayStation device is pretty cheap, but the CDs are expensive, right? Now that's the rules of the game. They accepted, they mastered that industry. Swatch decided to break away from the watch industry and not accept the rules of the game of the industry, which would be selling once in a lifetime and then fixing those watches. But they borrowed the rules of the game of the fashion accessory industry, because they are selling much more frequently. They are selling to many different target categories of clients, and by borrowing those rules of the game and redesigning their products, it's not anymore perceived as a watch, but more so as a fashion accessory. So let me open this to an interaction. You can turn on your microphones or type in the chat and answer these questions. What are the general consumer expectations from a catch-up product category? How frequently is this product purchased? When you look at catch-up, right? When you not only look at this ketchup bottle, but when you want to buy a ketchup, what is your expectation from this product? Go ahead, guys. Type or talk, whatever works best for you. Easy to use, good quality, adding some taste to the dish, desire. Okay, so tasty. Let me focus on desire, price, quality. Great. Okay. No chemicals, healthy. Anahit, how do you know if it's no chemicals, chemicals or healthy? RP and Nina, how do you know if it's easy to use? Tasty, tasty. So you are talking about the, easy to use. Do I understand correctly that it's the bottle?
Yes, easy.
Okay.
Easy to squeeze and to use it quickly because you usually do it. Let's say it's for fast food mainly, so you need the easiness and comfort when you use it.
Okay, now it's either to squeeze it. However, if you squeeze it and if I check the ingredients, RP says, and how do I know it's natural? I saw somewhere here, no chemicals, healthy. Anahit is saying this, right? Now it's easier to see if there are chemicals or if the ingredients are all right when you see what the content is, right? Now, as of the packaging, it's either squeezable, but if you have it, in a squeezable package, then you don't see the content, or it should have a big nozzle here so that you use it and more easily. That's what provides the ease of use. The name and the brand, okay, exactly. What about the color? What color do you expect it to be? Obviously red with a smiley face. Okay. Exactly. That's how you know orange color is not so good. Exactly. Color of tomato, natural color, attractive design, visualization. Great. Now, those are okay. Let me ask you one more question. How frequently do you buy this product? Once a month. I made it at home. Great. It depends, not often. Okay, not often, right? I mean, if I look at the question, when I ask this question, the questions range, the answers range from once a week for like really addicted ketchup eaters, or or never, but once a month or maybe once every 2 months, right? Now, if I look at my fridge, it rests in my fridge for like 3 months, right? Now, let's look at the situation from the point of view of the ketchup producer, right? Now, when I go into the ketchup industry, I have to be ready that the customer expectations from my products are, it should be red, it should be in an easy to use, visible, so that they understand there's no chemicals packaging, and I have to be ready. It should be red, obviously, and I have to be ready that it's not being, and I'm not selling this product more than on average once every 3 weeks, let's say, right? Now, if I either accept those rules of the game or I break away from the category. And you guys were mentioning brand. This is a very famous brand, Heinz ketchup, who broke away from this category. By the way, the buyer for a ordinary ketchup is a middle-aged person, or not. No, I mean, it's an adult at least, right? Now they broke all the rules here and broke away from the category by making it a different color, by making it in a packaging that you don't really see what the insides of it is. And the most importantly, they started making it different colors. And the target audience for this ketchup is the kids. Now, those who have kids, and, it's not a ketchup anymore. You don't buy it as a ketchup, right? You buy it as, activity for the kids, right? Now the people who have kids, they know that, you will do anything for them to shut up and to eat, right? So, I mean, no matter if it's like a horrible content here, if the ingredients are chemical, and obviously you don't have blue tomatoes, right? Naturally grown or whatever, right? So there are definitely chemicals, but a lot of parents, most of the parents, I think, will go to that sacrifice and they will buy this ketchup for their kids to eat, actually to draw on their food and then to eat that food. And obviously, you know, God forbid if you buy only blue, for example, right? I mean, they will make you, the kids will make you buy the green and the red as well. Okay, so instead of one bottle of ketchup, now you're, you know, suddenly you're buying 3. Suddenly, you know, it is more frequently used by your kids, right? So you're buying more frequently, and your expectations from the industry or from the product category of ketchup changes completely. Okay, so that's what Heinz did. Now tell me what your expectations from this product is. What are your expectations from this product? What is this product? This is underwear. Comfort. Okay, should be comfortable. What else? Should it be beautiful and sexy? Should be comfortable, from cotton, right? All right, high quality, great. Now, what about the packaging of this product? Sexy is nice as well, but this concrete product, let's start with the consumer of this product. Who is buying this product? +40. Exactly, 40+ people, and women. That's a great insight as well. So the 40+, if they happen to be where those are sold, you know, they would probably buy it. Usually they will forget it, right? Either because they're 50+, or because, you know, they don't care, and the wives, the woman, would go and buy it. Okay, now how does she buy it? Does she go, you know, with a hand up, with her head high up, proudly go to the very, you know, visible part of the shelf in the very center of the store? By the way, is it a department store or is it like a supermarket? Usually it's supermarket, right? So she wouldn't look for this product in a very fancy place. Should be somewhere deep inside city supermarket, right? And in a package of 5, let's say, right? So it's not a proud purchase. Usually she wants to get rid of this issue and, you know, take it off her shoulders immediately. So she wouldn't be buying it in a one item, you know, quantity, but she will be buying it in a pack of 5 or maybe 10, right? And for a cheap price. Now that's what my expectations are. Okay, I should be targeting the housewives. I should be negotiating as a producer with the supermarkets that they place it not in the very expensive place, but somewhere deep inside the supermarket and on the bottom shelf, right? And I should be ready to pack it in like 5 and not expect very high premium, very high return on this product, right? These are the rules of this product. And these are the rules of the industry. I should be ready for it as a producer. Now, how do I break away from this industry if I want to be, or if I'm already in the underwear business? I change the industry, break away from the industry by making this, by the design, by changing the design and making a different, creating a different thinking around this product. I create the jaw boxers. I sell it as a party accessory, and I'm not selling it as in a pack of 3. I'm selling it in a party souvenir shops or accessory stores, or, you know, in the parts where the in the supermarkets, those items like birthday candles and everything is sold. And I'm not making this boring underwear purchase. I'm making this as an event purchase, right? It's bought for a present. So for a present, I'm ready to pay a little bit more, right? And I'm being funny when I'm buying this. I'm not being ashamed, but I'm being funny when I buy this product. And that's how you change the buying behavior and the pricing expectations. There are numbers of cases like this. The Band-Aids, boring product. They made it fun. They made it for kids, and they actually made it not to, cure a wound, but it's more of like a temporary tattoo for kids. Okay, my sister's daughter is going to a supermarket to buy her princess Band-Aids, right? I mean, and she doesn't have burns or cuts or anything. She just, wears it as an accessory. Cirque du Soleil is another extremely good example of breaking away from the circus industry. Okay, now the circus, you all know, it's a miserable place, hated by people now, because animal rights are being abused, violated, and you don't want to, and stinky, and it's horrible overall, right? It's not, and you are not ready to pay like $50-$60 for your circus. Now, Cirque du Soleil changed it completely. They took out the animals, they brought in a show component, a fancy component to it, and here's what they have. They're able to charge much higher premium, okay, for their circus. The cartoons are breaking away. Now they're not only for the kids, but also for the adults, talking about political correctness, feminism, nutrition, and all the contemporary and politics, right, topics. And this is another example of breaking away. Now the series, our expectations from the series were Brazilian or Mexican series with very poorly playing actors, and no celebrities, obviously, right? And it's shameful to watch them. Now everybody's obsessed with them. My latest obsession is this one. That's a great example. And Apple TV, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, the biggest one, are capitalizing, making huge amounts of money on the breakaway component of how they broke away from their industry. So those were good examples. Let me, basically give you the recipe of how you break away from your industries. First, you want to borrow and leverage associations from a different product category to encourage customers to mentally categorize the product differently. And as I said, you do it by changing your product design, either by changing your product design or by the place where you offer or distribute your product, or by the pricing. You change the pricing, or you talk differently about your products. Who is dangerous? Professor reminds me of you. Ah, yes. Thank you. I'm really very obsessed with this series. I actually sacrificed one episode of it for this. And then, after 40 minutes, I'm going to hate you and leave. So, to watch that movie. So, as I said, coming back, borrow and leverage associations from the different product category. Develop new internal competencies. Obviously, if you want to break away and you don't want to be categorized as a watch anymore, if you're a Swatch, now you have to be ready to hire designers, to hire not only watchmakers, but also marketing communication specialists, and develop other internal competencies to make this breakaway strategy a success. Okay. And finally, rely on integrated marketing plan in order to make the strategy as explicit as possible. So basically, not only do you want to change your product category, but also a product design, for example, but also you want to talk about, this as a different product. Not only do you want to change the pricing of it and just, be quiet and stand there, but say this is, a product belonging to this category because of the price. So you want to be talking about what you did, right? So some marketing effort should be there. Now, what would be the consequences of this successful breakaway category? Obviously, the consumers would have a different purchase criteria, right? Their decision-making cycle would be different, okay? If, you know, for example, you are selling a device, coming back to UCOM, they will think twice, you know, that, you know, the decision-making for buying a device is a little bit longer than buying a service that costs you just $12, okay? Versus $120 for a device, okay? You change the consumer or the consumption pattern, as in the case of ketchup, right? Now, if the consumption pattern was resting in the fridge, using it once, and so on, now by breaking away and creating a ketchup for kids that's colorful, consumption patterns change. They start consuming more frequently. You attract new customers to the category, like me, for example, who wouldn't go to this miserable circus. Now I'm going to go to the Cirque du Soleil, right? And the same, you know, usual circus goers probably would too go there. So you not only change but expand the category, okay, of the target customers. You start developing firms' competitive set. So not only are you competitive now in the watchmaking, but also in the design, okay? And you basically sidestep the competition in your old category. And then you expand the category boundaries. So that much about the breakaway examples and how you do it and how helpful it is. Now I'm, you know, opening this discussion to basically challenge you and to have you ask yourselves, what would your breakaway strategy be, especially in these times of change, in the times of, you know, us coming back to our normal lives, maybe in less than a month, you know, objectively, and, you know, being out there in a completely different market. Would you want to be in your same product category, or do you think you have to break away? And if so, how? So let's start that discussion.
May I ask a question, Sergey?
Sure.
I was just thinking that I recalled the product Pes that you are very much in, and that is becoming more and more popular, not only in Armenia, but also abroad. So if we analyze what you did based on the concept that you presented to us, what was the breakthrough there? What was the breakaway strategy there?
Now, the coloring books, you know, Pes is a coloring map of Yerevan, if you know, you guys don't know. And also we have coloring books with, you know, very brief information in 3 languages. That's, you know, the buildings and the monuments of Yerevan. Now, this huge coloring map, or the coloring books, or, you know, the color yourself products usually are as miserable as an ordinary circus are, right? And they are, you know, maximum the price is around 500 drams or 1,000 drams. And those are, you know, Disney characters or cars, or, you know, some cartoon characters. There's nothing educational about them. There is nothing about loving your own, or belongingness, or belonging to your own city. They are not educational at all. They are pure entertainment, and they are cheap products, usually printed on very low quality paper. Now, we wanted to break away from this strategy. Otherwise, we should have played by the rules of the game that the color yourself industry imposes on us. Cheapness, low quality, no educational content, no complication, right? But we broke away, and we put us in the category of IQ develop, or like intellectual tools, and in the category of souvenirs or presents with a meaning, okay? That enabled us to price a product a little bit higher. The books that we have are around 5,000 drams, and the big coloring maps are around 10,000 drams. And, you know, not only do you color, but also, you know, you develop some skills, you develop your intellectual capacities, and, you know, exactly, Nina, it is based on an edutainment concept. So not only is it only entertainment, but it's entertainment and education, which puts it into the edutainment concept, which is much more well respected nowadays and is much more popular. So that's what we did.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arpi, for the question and for the opportunity to advertise.
I don't think it was advertisement. You were just talking about your product.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, other questions, or better, of course I'll answer the questions, but I'll be, more excited to hear your thoughts about, the possibilities of Breakaway or the need for Breakaway, or maybe questions for Breakaway from your own categories.
I was thinking about recruitment, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we are, of course, it is a product, it's a service. And what we usually look when we do recruitment, for example, we know that there should be announcement. We know that it should be written like responsibilities, duties of the job holder.
Mm-hmm.
And for sure, there is something needed for Breakaway here, because there are a lot of job opportunities, and to keep your competitive advantage in the market and to really beat competitors and become like a good place to work, you have to do something different. Like you can't go for the same posts as you were doing before. So it's again packaging thing. It's again why we do these boring job announcements everywhere. Maybe we have to do something else.
Yeah,
and that's why like overseas, it's very popular now to do like video and YouTube and these kind of announcements and realistic job interview when someone from the company is telling how he feels in the company. And this is breakaway strategy, by the way. When you don't talk about the job, but you really ask the person to share the similar position, to share how he feels and how he lives with this job.
My biggest, brightest moment when I was looking for jobs in the US was when they flew me, the shortlisted candidates, around 15 people, they flew us to Richmond, Virginia. And there was a 3-day interview session, which was really not an interview session, but basically a series of psychological tests, group games, dinners with CEOs, activities, packaging an egg it was, and so on. And I mean, I was dreaming of working in this company because I could see all the people, I could see the CEO, the culture, and so on, right? Maybe that's the way, maybe the motivator should be that one. And had they offered, a cheaper salary, I would have been happy to accept it because I could feel the industry, the company. So probably, that was their breakaway. I'm not sure how you could mass market that, because you can't really be flying everybody to your company or having everybody who wants to work at Cascade, for example, get an internship first, right? But we should think of some breakaway, because that's gonna give us an upper hand, I think.
My point was, yes, I absolutely agree with you. For sure, you can do it with the shortlisted candidates, but you can't do on mass market when you are having like 150 people to screen and understand with whom to go further. But it really reminds me your ketchup story. Like the ketchup should be red, so job search should be job announcement. It really reminds me that very much, because this is how we are taught to work, or do headhunting, or ask friends, relatives, etc., which we all use. But I started to think how it can be reshaped and retuned and repackaged. So thank you for this insight.
Thank you.
Over to you, colleagues. I was too talkative today, sorry.
Me too. I feel so guilty. I'm monopolizing the entire discussion. So please go ahead and participate as well. Okay. Are people raising hands or not? No.
Just looking, it says no. Nina, Lucine, no ideas? Breaking away strategies doesn't work. Okay.
It would be interesting for me to know, as John Maxwell says, when you share something successful, also share something that you had failure and lesson learned. So it would be for me to know your one of your failures that you took some lessons from that. It would be also interesting to know, because through that we can also understand how to do in our sphere.
Breakaway strategy that didn't work.
Yeah. Or it was on a risk or something that you could just save the situation.
Usually I'm not sure, I didn't have those, not that I can remember of now, but usually the breakaway strategies don't work when you are solving a non-existing problem. So basically, my favorite TV talk show is called Shark Tank. And basically, I don't know if you've seen it, 5 or 6 very successful entrepreneurs in US, they sit there in a room and an entrepreneur comes and pitches his or her idea. And, one idea was, and their comment was really, something that impressed me. It was a lesson learned. There was a Jewish guy who came in and he was like, I came with a breakthrough product, an application where people can fight with each other. And basically, the Arabs and the Jews, they talk about the conflict. The Barcelona and Real Madrid fans, they, join in the same application and they fight about stuff and so on. And, he valued his company at X amount and so on. The feedback to him was that, if you put your own money on this, immediately withdraw and forget about this idea. It is a breakthrough. It is something very original. It's not your ordinary like dating or marketplace such as eBay and so on website, but it's a non-existing idea. You are trying to it's a non-existing problem. You're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, they said. So I think if we are trying to break away with some product which doesn't exist, which doesn't solve a problem in that different industry, I think that would be an issue. But a concrete example from my own experience, I'm not sure I had one.
Okay, thank you.
Then maybe you could suggest some kind of tools of how to do it, let's say in a form of a minimum viable product or experimentation and testing. So in order to understand whether that problem exists or not, first of all, and do it on a minimal scale in order not to waste too much resources on that. Are there any specific instruments or literature that you could recommend?
I think even on the prototype stage, you can either place it somewhere that's not ordinary, or change the design of it, make the prototype in a different design and either price it differently. As I said, apply the 4Ps to the prototype as well. And usually I think, it's much more reasonable and prudent to do that on the prototype stage versus to create the entire packaging, in a non-standard way and then fail. So I'm sure that Red Bull did one prototype and then, but again, it depends on the industry. I think, it depends on what industry there is. If you believe that you are solving a problem that exists, then you start playing with the 4 Ps.
May I share something? I just recalled the John Coyle that we were listening about design thinking and everything, and he brought very good example how to make a break, like how to conceptualize a new idea and how to make it live. And the main concept was, I'm sure you are aware, but I will share if you are not aware. Like if you are aware, just ignore whatever I'm saying. But the main idea was you just take the product and you get rid of its the main important feature that it has. For example, if you have something, and he was bringing an example about the deodor for the carpets, and how it happened that they like really made it as it is. They took the detergent with the pulverized with the all these
spray.
The spray, etc., and they took away the main ingredient, which is like making cleaning, and what left was the bottle and the aroma that was coming out. So that's how they invented it and then started to sell it, etc. I'm sure Chingiz remembers this better because he was there and he was much more attentive than me. But the idea is you take the main feature that describes the product and you think about the other features that the product has.
Yeah. By the way, RP, thank you for this example. I remembered, and I think, that's a better answer to Nina's question that I'm going to give now. Not only do you want to work with those 4 components, right, and change the 4 Ps, sometimes, as in RP's example, you either reduce something or increase or get rid of it, eliminate it, one or the other. And the example would be the Southwest Airlines. They basically, the expectation was, or Ryanair's and all the low budgets nowadays, that the expectation is that you go into the airplane and you have to eat, and then you are able to take the luggage with you, and the expensive ticket prices is another expectation. And also the safety is another expectation. Now what they did, they kept the safety. Actually, they increased the safety, right? But they decreased the foot space, for example. They eliminated the luggage at all, right? And by tweaking the expected value, by tweaking the expected product and making a new product out of it, augmenting that product, as in RP's example, they, for example, took away the cleaning component and left the odor. Maybe they increased the odor. Maybe they increased the product design, made it more sleeker, more beautiful, and so on, right? So basically, not only they played with one component, but with some of them, and they were not afraid of eliminating one of them completely. So that could be on the stage of the prototype as well, the minimum viable product. Not to make it too expensive.
So basically, which one seems like the solution is the most important thing out of all these components? Frankly, exactly. I don't remember.
We couldn't hear you, but I guess what you're saying is the problem solving is the most important component, and yes, the answer is yes. I mean, if the product doesn't solve the problem in a good, with a fair price, and if the solution is available, the solution, not only, the problem should be solved, but also that solution should be available and fairly priced. Now, if this triangle works, then, start playing with the components of it to break away, right? But if the triangle is not present there, solution is not there, price is not fair, and the solution is not available to you, then, you don't even try playing with the 4 components.
Okay. Any other insights, questions, ladies and gentlemen? No. Okay. Thank you, Sergey, very much. And I'm really thinking that we never look, we as an HR people, we never look to our products from that perspective. And I think starting from recruitment with training and development and performance appraisal and, corporate culture creation and development, everything have to be looked from this perspective. And I'm sure the outcome that we will have will be much more interesting, and it will vary from company to company at least and be customized to the companies. So thank you very much. Though it wasn't HR, but it gave a lot of thoughts for HR people.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Arpi. We are in this quarantine situation. We are so we want to talk and have smart conversations, or dress up at least. That only that was a very good thing for me. And obviously sharing was a pleasure. And thank you for your questions and for your insights as well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to ask everyone to share their main insights of the day in our chat box, so we can work on it and read it and smile or cry, doesn't matter. And also I want to say that our next webinar will be the Leave conversation with Diana Danielan, which is my from my psychology faculty. Like, we are friends starting from the student life from psychology faculty, and it will be live conversation. It will not be a webinar, it will be just conversation about how we stay alone with ourselves during this time of isolation. So kind of psychological background more. So welcome to join, and thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Sergey. Thank you, every single person that was here. We are really happy that our webinars are attracting more and more people. It means that we are doing something in the right way.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay safe.
Everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
It's great and fresh approach to marketing mix. Thank you for it and for nice examples. For peace, safe. For thought. Thank you, Alina. Chingis was here, Sergey.
Yeah, I saw him a couple of times. Yeah. It was very nice.
He's still here, but he don't show up.
Who?
He doesn't show up. Chingis.
Chingis, yeah, he's still here. Great. Anna, thank you for joining as well. It was nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Look, where is Chingis? Hello.
This, quarantine remote mode is really working. I'm starting to like it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Like, you're having more contacts during the day than you had before.
Yeah, well, I was teaching yesterday all day, and then we had all those interviews for Sela. And when I started watching my Casa de Papier, I realized that my entire day was in front of a screen.
Yeah, on the chair. On the chair and the screen and the telephone in between.
All the time, yeah. But I call this a life as in an airplane, like you're flying to America and you can basically do a couple of things and you start overdoing them. You read, you sleep, you wake up, you watch the screen, as if we are in a very long flight, right?
Flight, unfortunately.
Flying somewhere.